Hi guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another episode of the Good Living Podcast. Today I'm going to outline to us things that we get judged for but that aren't really that bad. Number one, gossiping. So, how is it that two people can have a conversation and share their opinions about a third person? And it is perfectly fine and it is perfectly normal. But the moment, and it is not gossiping until you begin to say negative things about that third person, even if those negative things are true. It is only when you begin to say negative things that it is considered gossiping. I don't think it's fair because the truth is, if humans are as good as we think we are within ourselves, then this world wouldn't be as bad as it is right now. So I think there's a lot of us with weaknesses and a lot of us with flaws. And sometimes, even if you're talking about somebody, if you're talking about a third person and they have certain flaws and you highlight those flaws without any malice, it shouldn't be considered gossiping or backbiting or bad talk. It should just be a description of somebody's character. I'll give you an example. If I'm trying to explain how I started a business and I was looking for an accountant, if I had a friend that had experience in accounting, but I refused to give him the job, then, and I'm now trying to explain to another friend why I didn't give that friend the job, we can just begin to talk. Okay, say that friend's name is Frank. We can talk about Frank. Yeah, how Frank there now? Yeah, his family is doing okay, everything. Da, 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 da. Say, yeah, you're looking for an accountant. Why don't you take Frank? And then we can also talking Frank, funny guy, but Frank now, he will steal your money. That kind of. If I say that kind of thing about Frank, and Frank has been caught stealing money before in the position of an accountant, then it's not gossiping. It's just me outlaying the fact that this is why Frank couldn't get a job with me. The second thing I think we're judged for that isn't really fair is revenge. I mean, how is it that all of us believe in karma, all of us know karma is real, and we anticipate karma, but then we now start getting touchy when the most perfect form of karma is carried out? If somebody goes into a man's house, shoots the man in the head, rapes his wife, and beats up his 5-year-old son, even if it's in a movie you're watching that, you expect that the evil that man just perpetrated is going to revisit him someday. But somehow, if that man's son grows up, becomes a teenager or a young adult, and hunts down the killer of his father and the raper of his mother, and that guy already has a wife of his own and a son of his own, and he goes into that man's house, shoots him in the head, rapes his wife, and beats up his own child, probably possibly even kills the child, society gets touchy, and it begins to look like, oh, that's bad, you should have left vengeance for the Lord, and all of that stuff. But we all know deep down that that is the most perfect form of karma that could have been carried out. But yeah, we judge people who perpetrate it. Somebody will poke you and poke you and poke you, and the moment you poke back, society wants to look at you as if you're the bad person. And I think that is unfair. However, we believe that in religion, we should forgive and forget. We should also leave vengeance for God. But on the other hand, I think it does well for justice and it does well for our conscience, actually, if we do our own back. I'm not advocating for revenge in every form. I'm just saying the satisfaction we get from revenge is actually being mocked and underplayed. The truth is, when somebody does something bad to you and you give them the taste of their own medicine as well, it does feel good. Revenge feels good. The third one will be billing. Really, all of us are suffering. Like, not all of us, I won't say every single person is suffering. There are people obviously who are at better positions in life. But the truth is, the country that we live in, this is more nation specific, the country that we live in is becoming increasingly difficult. And the truth is, as it's getting difficult, we have always tried as Nigerians to adapt to these difficulties. Every Nigerian has been trying to minimize and adapt to the difficulties. But sometimes it seems like the country is getting worse at a pace that we cannot keep up with. So if you're saying, okay, fuel has increased to this amount, we have to do this and do that, some things happen, with so much speed that we cannot catch it. And then you find yourself in the red, owing money or needing extra money from somebody else. And the simple action of somebody asking you to help them with some money should not be offensive. Right? Some people, because when I say billing, some people, they're just offended by the fact that somebody would ask them for money, would even dare to ask them for money. The problem is, you need to understand that if these people had other choices, they wouldn't ask you for money. Yeah, it gets to a point where, you need money and you have asked the people that generally would give you without judging you, and they are all out of money, they can't give you. And then you now have to ask somebody new, and then that new person is upset by the fact that you can even ask them. And it's really messed up because at every single point in time, human beings will need help from other human beings. It doesn't always have to be financial, but if you deny somebody financial help, like we talked about karma earlier, you could deny something that is beyond financial help eventually. Like if you're in an emergency situation and you need somebody to help you and it's time sensitive and they refuse because they're being selfish, they want to manage their own time. Something could affect you in that manner. No matter how much you have, you cannot buy time. So, there are different things that we can look at. So you should be more empathetic to people who ask. And also people who ask, you should also try to generate money by yourself one way or the other before looking outside for money, because a lot of people are looking at their own money and looking at how they can manage their life with it. So nobody's really keeping money to give you. It's money they had plans for, that they do sacrifice for you. So if you're billing, they're billing with care. And the final one is middleman. I don't know why there's so much hate for the middleman in this country. Is it because it has not been perfectly legalized, or because it's just that it seems like it's easy money and then we have something against people who make easy money legally? Because if Cynthia wants to sell her phone for 25,000 naira and she cannot get a buyer for 25,000 naira quick enough, and then she needs the help of John to secure, like, okay, John, please, I have this phone, I'll sell it for 25k. Help me find a buyer. All John has to do is find 25,000 naira, give Cynthia, and take her phone and give it to the person that he got 25,000 naira from. But if John is smart and he gets somebody that gives him 35,000 naira for the phone, and he comes back and he gives Cynthia her 25k and keeps the 10 for himself, he's seen as the bad person. Why does that have to be the case? He's also hustling, and there's easy ways of making money. There's working hard and there's working smart. And this is a perfect example of passive income and you working smart. And he shouldn't be judged for it. He shouldn't be seen as an evil person. Of course, there are exceptions. For example, in a case where maybe John has gone to talk to Philip, for example, that wants to buy the phone, and Philip says he has 25k, but because John wants to make 10,000 naira on top of that phone, he's going to come back and tell Cynthia that, they're only offering 15k for your phone, so that he can collect 25k, give Cynthia 15 and keep 10. I think that is wrong. I think that isn't actually evil. They're not depriving her of the customer that you're supposed to help her find. However, if he's okay, if he gets her price, or if your middleman gets the price that you're asking for and gives it to you, no matter how much he makes on top of the deal, it should have nothing to do with you. It is your greed that is going to make you have an issue with that. And on the other hand, also, you can say, but he made so amount on top of the money, on top of the deal, and then came and still collected money from me as per IRAC. Why not? Have you paid him for finding you the buyer? You're forgetting that you wanted 25k and you recruited this guy so that he could secure your 25k for you and give and sell your phone. He has done that, and what have you given him for it? Have you paid? You've not paid. So if he comes back and asks you for 1k for the deal, even if you made 200,000 on top of the 25k deal, you owe him money because he has done your part for you and you've not paid for the part he did. Unless you have a separate agreement with him where you say, okay, if you can get extra money on top, fine, that will be your IRAC, so he cannot come back to you. But in a case where you just tell him you want to sell this phone for so amount and he goes and sells it for that amount and gives you your money, you should settle him IRAC if he asks for it.